When the cameras are always rolling, nothing stays hidden for long.
Sit tight, sir. I'll be right back. Okay. Your registration is
People disappearing in seconds, objects floating in midair, and mysterious figures appearing from nowhere. These videos show moments that can't be explained, yet they're all real. Some scenes caught on camera are harder to explain than they seem. In Turkey's Marmara province, surveillance footage from an industrial area showed a group of stray dogs doing something bizarre. Late at night, 8 dogs surrounded a parked car and began tearing into its bumper, like they were after something inside. By morning, the car was wrecked, its front torn apart. At first, many thought it was a theft attempt, but the footage told a stranger story. Some now believe the dogs were reacting to something unseen, maybe a demonic entity trapped in that vehicle. In Spain, a strange incident left everyone stunned. On a street, a guy was cycling when out of nowhere his bicycle came to a stop. Before he could even react, it was pulled to the ground with force, then suddenly lifted in the air before crashing back down. It seems strange because there was no wire, no slope, nothing that could have done that. Locals believed that an evil force had taken control of the bicycle. Or maybe it once belonged to someone who had passed away, and his presence still hadn't left it. It is said the cyclist later returned the bike to the exact place where he bought it and never touched it again. 2 friends were walking down a deserted path when something shocking happened. One of them suddenly disappeared, like he was pulled up into the air with great speed. No human could do that on their own, so what was behind it? The other friend couldn't understand for a second, then panicked and ran away. Just moments later, the missing friend dropped back down from above. He got up quickly and escaped before it could happen again. It looked like an alien abduction. Perhaps they took him for experiments and realized he was the wrong person, so they sent him back. After that, fear spread in the area. People started watching the skies, unsure who might be next. Vanishing patients. A CCTV camera in a hospital captured a sight that was hard to ignore. Everything looked normal. Patients were sitting, waiting for their turn, but then, in just seconds, a few of them disappeared. No sound, no movement, just gone. The people sitting nearby looked confused, unable to make sense of what had just happened. When the footage leaked, it quickly went viral. Some viewers said it was teleportation. Others believed it was a test done by otherworldly beings. If that's true, those missing patients weren't taken by mistake. They were chosen, and maybe they were only the start of something much bigger, hiding in plain sight. Empty bus. A school bus was on its regular morning route, filled with kids, but just a few minutes later, every child was gone. Yes, you heard it right. The bus was completely empty, except for the driver and their school bags still on the seats. No sign of how it happened was seen. It could be a hole in space that opened inside the bus and took the kids to another world. That's why everything else stayed behind. The driver was in shock, unsure of what to do. He thought of calling for help, but deep down, he knew wherever they went, no phone call could bring them back. Floating entry. At a restaurant opening, a reporter was taking reviews from visitors when something strange happened. As a lady spoke on camera, a man suddenly appeared in the air behind her, out of nowhere. No one around noticed at first, but the camera caught it clearly. Visitors later claimed it looked like he teleported from somewhere, and the odd part was that he didn't seem confused or lost. Maybe he wasn't from our world at all, just passing through unnoticed. The footage was removed shortly after, and the restaurant quietly shut down its outdoor area. They didn't want that to happen again. Portal Vanish. In the backyard of a house, a black hooded person was seen moving quietly. Something about him wasn't right. Suddenly he sat down and touched the ground, right at a particular spot. And here's the twist. A strange white light began to glow from beneath his hand. It wasn't natural. Within seconds the person vanished. Yes, you heard that right. Some say it was a portal, or maybe part of a system not from our world, or maybe he wasn't human at all, but an extraterrestrial being using a hidden gateway. If beings like that exist, perhaps our world has more such beings than we know. Floating cars. Some roads have secrets buried deep below, and in China, one of them revealed itself on camera. A CCTV clip captured something that left everyone stunned. 2 cars driving on a road suddenly began to float in the air, just like that. No wires, nothing visible that could explain it. The footage clearly showed both cars lifted and tilted as if pulled by an unseen force. It could have been a strong magnetic field or underground tech experiments gone wrong. Maybe it was something darker, like a curse or energy that lives under that road. The road was eventually sealed off for repairs, the authorities claimed, but those who saw the footage know it was something more than that. Alien walkers. A leaked footage from Area 51 grabbed people's attention. The CCTV had recorded two men walking, and for a moment, everything felt normal. But when inspected closely, something felt off. They weren't like us. Their ears and eyes looked strange, not like any human being. They calmly walked and soon disappeared from the frame. People couldn't stop calling them aliens, and knowing Area 51's past with mysterious sightings, this only added fuel to the fire. It felt like something hidden was going on inside. Maybe not all beings seen there are human after all. So next time, be careful. The person beside you might not be who you think. Fence passer. A local was walking along the roadside when he came across a sight that made him stop in his tracks. He saw a strange man dressed in a black gown walking straight into a steel fence right through its center and then disappearing. There was no gate, no opening, yet he passed through like it was nothing. An old lady nearby tried to do the same out of curiosity, but she couldn't. No human could, which means he wasn't one. Possibly he was an extraterrestrial being, or someone with powers beyond this world. Even the way he looked didn't feel normal. Hidden staff. On October 3rd, 2023, at an airport, a news reporter was doing a live interview with a traveler. Passengers were walking by with their luggage. Then suddenly, a lady who seemed to be part of the staff vanished right behind a passing passenger. She didn't show up from the other side at all. It shocked those watching the footage. Some people there said it could be a glitch in the Matrix. Others believed she wasn't really human, maybe an otherworldly being who was sent on a mission and then disappeared without a trace after its completion. Well, what do you think? Street arrival. A video posted online went viral for a good reason. It showed a man suddenly appearing on the street out of nowhere, right in the middle of the frame. 1 second, the road was empty, and the next, he was just there. What's even stranger is how casually he walked away, like nothing weird had happened at all. This wasn't a camera glitch. The footage was clear. He might have been a time traveler. He may have come from the future to study our world's history or important events. If he really was from the future, probably this wasn't his first visit, just the first time we caught him on camera. Terminal glitch. Passengers were waiting at an airport lounge for their flight. A lady was seen walking with her luggage, but midway she suddenly vanished. Her luggage stayed right there, but she was gone, and she wasn't the only one. Cameras from other parts of the airport showed the same thing. People moving around and then disappearing without a trace. No rush, no noise, just gone. The footage spread quickly and even made it to the news. Experts blamed it on a camera glitch, but if it wasn't, then maybe a portal had opened just long enough to pull a few people through. Airports are meant for departures, but maybe not just by plane. Shadow form. At night, in the street, a local was seen when a terrible incident took place. Let's have a look. He was walking casually when his body slowly changed into a shadowy figure. It didn't make any sense, right? But that's exactly what the footage showed. Speculations arose that it was a spirit borrowing a human form that finally wore off. Or maybe it was an effect of a parallel dimension crossing paths with ours for a moment. Since then, no one saw him again, as if his appearance was never meant to be witnessed. Ghost car. In Russia, at a busy intersection, a dash cam recorded a sight that didn't make sense. As cars were turning, one vehicle suddenly appeared right in the middle of the road without warning. No entry from any lane, no sign of approach. It just showed up. A BMW nearly crashed into it, but stopped just in time. People started calling it the ghost car. However, other people believe a past accident plays on loop, showing itself now and then. To some, it was just a glitch on camera, but to others, that car didn't belong to this moment in time. It was a memory trying to return. Vanishing Woman. A famous American actress, Scarlett, was speaking to media reporters at a public event. Cameras flashed, people cheered, but behind her stood a woman who didn't belong there. Calm, still, and unnoticed until she vanished. 1 second she was there, the next, gone. No one saw her walk away. She didn't pass through the crowd. Rumors spread quickly, claiming her a ghost in human form or an otherworldly being sent to observe Scarlett. Whatever her purpose, she seemed to complete it and left. After the incident, Scarlett's fame only grew, but now some say she might still be watched. Missing driver. A delivery driver dropped parcels at someone's house, but the moment he turned back toward his van, he disappeared. It made no sense, yet it was all caught on CCTV. The homeowner later checked the footage and was left stunned. Locals whispered that the area doesn't even exist on any official map. They say people who enter never return. What's worse is that the order had come from an account deactivated a year ago, after another driver disappeared on the same route. Whether it was a glitch or a trap, one thing became clear: the road doesn't take you to a house, it takes you away. Phantom disappearance. A security police officer stopped a lady's car for speeding on a mountainous, deserted road. As the lady was speaking and showing her license, the officer turned away for a second, but when she turned back, the woman was gone.
Your registration is What the?
The door hadn't opened, the engine was still running, but the driver had vanished. She called out, searched around, but found nothing. Locals now call her the Phantom Driver, or the road is cursed. Maybe the woman didn't escape, but pulled into something we're not meant to see. Park Vanish. On October 3rd, 2023, a man was seen walking in a park, heading toward his friend. But as he got closer, he vanished into the air. Yes, you heard that right. People nearby were stunned. The friend reported it immediately, and park authorities searched everywhere, but the man was nowhere. It is said the park might sit on a weak spot between dimensions. One step forward, and he slipped into another realm. Since then, the park has become a place of fear, where one wrong step might lead you somewhere you can't return from. Time rescuer. A resident was seen crossing the road when suddenly a car came speeding toward him. Just before the impact, another person rushed in out of nowhere, and within a blink, both disappeared right before getting hit. Moments later, they were seen standing safe on the other side of the road. The CCTV footage shocked everyone. Who was that second person? Was he a guardian angel in disguise, or someone with powers beyond our understanding? The timing was too perfect. Some believe time briefly folded at that spot, saving a life in the strangest way. That day, something unseen changed the course of reality. Hospital blink. The night shift at the hospital wasn't normal for the guard this time, as he suddenly stood up and began talking. It seemed like he was speaking to someone, but there was no one with him. He spoke for a while, then walked away. But when they checked the CCTV footage later, it showed there was no human presence there at all. There might be a ghost or spirit of a patient who had passed away, or maybe it was just a presence that never left. After that incident, rumors spread that the hospital was haunted. Frozen time. An unusual incident took place with a family in broad daylight. As they stepped out of their house, they noticed their dog standing still, completely frozen. It wasn't just standing, even its tail was stuck mid-air, like time had paused. The dog looked more like a statue than a living being. The family kept calling its name, but it didn't move. Then after a few seconds, everything went back to normal, like nothing happened. But that moment left them shaken. It could be a glitch in the Matrix, or some hidden force messing with reality. Well, what's your take on this? Basement presence. A house owner had recently shifted to a new place. One day, while playing with a balloon in the basement, something spooky happened. As he tossed the balloon up, it bounced back like someone had hit it. But he was alone. He tried again, and this time someone clapped his hand in midair. That wasn't all. A tissue was pulled from the roll without anyone touching it. It wasn't a coincidence. Something unseen was clearly there. After some digging, he found out someone was once trapped in that basement. Now it felt like his spirit never left. He thought of moving out, but the question is, would the spirit let him leave that easily? Silent watchers. In the middle of a crowded road, a hooded man appeared. At first, no one noticed him, but then a sudden blue light flashed from his hand. After seeing this sight, the situation wasn't normal on the road anymore. It felt like his form even glitched for a second, like he wasn't human. Then he ran faster than anyone had seen, barely dodging a bus before disappearing. It looked like he had superpowers that made him do that. It means he could have been an alien in human disguise. And next time, when you're out, be careful. You never know if the person next to you is truly a human or not. Church disappearance.
Ask that we all stand for one last song.
A religious ceremony was going on in a church. Everything seemed peaceful until the moment the people stood up. Suddenly, a large group of them disappeared right there in front of everyone. Even the priest had vanished too. Only a few people remained. Those were confused and shaken at what they had seen. It felt like the prayers had triggered some spirit or a ghost that might be linked to that church. The strange part was that this wasn't the last time. More sightings happened later with similar patterns. That's when the government finally stepped in and closed the church. It no longer felt like a place of peace, but a doorway to something beyond. Ghost walk. During a live news report, a security officer was sharing updates from the city when something strange appeared behind him. An old lady walked slowly into the frame, but then suddenly disappeared. The reporter had no idea what had just happened.
She disappeared.
Some say it was a ghost wandering the area. Possibly the location might hold some tragic past. One thing's for sure, the camera captured something that human eyes weren't meant to see. Later on, reporters were told not to film at that spot again, as if the government didn't want anyone asking more questions.
Clean. Live news. Is that live news?
Vanishing cyclist.
Another one.
In Russia, two men were standing on the street when suddenly, right behind them, a man on a bicycle appeared out of nowhere. Surveillance footage showed no sign of him approaching from any direction. He simply popped into view mid-motion, as if he had been dropped into reality. It could be a secret teleportation, or maybe a tear in space-time opened briefly. What if this isn't the only one, and others have happened too, just without anyone noticing?
Давай тогда еще разок.
Phantom walker. Sometimes cameras catch what our eyes can't. In a closed store late at night, CCTV footage showed a hooded man walking straight through the locked glass door without opening it. His face was hidden, and he did not attempt to break in. Moments later, he vanished and reappeared on the other side, the same way. Could he have been some advanced cloaking at play, or was the person an otherworldly being with superpowers like an alien? Maybe he came to take something from the shop that was left behind after a crash, and now he was sent to retrieve it. Phantom deer. A driver was heading home when he spotted a deer running down the highway right in front of his car. It looked panicked, like it had escaped from the nearby woods. But before he could process anything, the deer did something no one could explain. It ran straight through the road barrier and vanished into the air. It didn't jump, it didn't turn. It was as if the deer had stepped into an invisible portal hidden along the roadside. If that's true, then maybe that road isn't just a road, but a hidden path to somewhere else entirely. Headless spirit. A security camera set in a street captured something very unbelievable. It showed a woman in red walking there. But what made her strange was that her head kept disappearing and reappearing. Hard to believe, right? But that's exactly what it showed. It happened for a while, and even nearby people witnessed it. Moments later, she was seen running out of nowhere. People couldn't stop calling her a ghostly being, or maybe a headless creature cursed to roam like that. Well, it shook the whole area, and after that incident, people stopped stepping out of their homes late at night. Ghost cyclist. Something shocking is coming your way, so hold on tight. In the driveway area, the security camera caught a boy who suddenly appeared out of nowhere on a bicycle. It felt like he dropped into view while riding. He looked around, almost confused, like he was trying to understand where he was. Then he hid behind a car and moments later ran off. But what's creepy is how he slowly faded away and disappeared. Some say it was the spirit of a boy who once lived there, now drawn back to this familiar place. Maybe he wasn't lost and just came back to finish a ride that never ended. Witchwoman. Mexico became the center of attention after a strange sighting on October 24th, 2023. A CCTV camera in a quiet street captured a creepy-looking woman walking alone. She had messy hair and carried a stick. Neighbors said they'd seen her before and were too scared to go near. It was claimed she was seen writing strange, cryptic messages on the ground. People began whispering, was she a witch? But the footage that captured her mysteriously vanished from the system. One thing's certain, whatever force was behind her didn't want that moment remembered. Curse Street. A clip recently made headlines, posted by a local who recorded an unsettling view. Pedestrians on the street started acting strangely, pausing, staring through windows, walking backward, or repeating their steps like they were trapped in a trance. So many doing it at once felt far from normal. Rumors spread fast. People said they were possessed by something supernatural tied to that area. Locals whispered of an old curse buried deep beneath the land, sealed long ago with forgotten rituals. But with new construction nearby, something may have been disturbed, letting an energy loose that hijacks the mind. Playground shadow. A lady was sitting in a playground using her phone. Behind her, the children's play equipment stood still. But then, near the ladder behind her, a shadowy figure was seen, clearly shaped like a person. It didn't move, just stood there, perfectly still. But here's the strange part. No one else was in the playground except that lady, so who cast that shadow? Some say the ground might be haunted, that a spirit is tied to that ladder or the equipment. Only visible when no one else is looking. Maybe not every child playing there is really alive. Fading figure. On August 3rd, 2017, a parking lot CCTV captured a bizarre, transparent being walking across the lot. At first glance, it seemed like a person, but as it moved, it slowly faded away into the air. No human can do that, which means it was something else. Maybe a djinn. That area had a dark history too. Years ago, creepy rituals were performed there. Locals say evil entities were summoned and never left. And the person who once carried out those rituals, he disappeared without a trace. Now it feels like whatever he called still walks that ground. White spirit. In Azua, a terrifying sight was caught on a street surveillance camera. It showed a figure dressed in white walking slowly and then fading into the dark. It looked like a woman, but at that late hour, seeing someone alone out there didn't feel normal. She moved in an unusual way too, almost as if controlled. Soon rumors spread that she could be a djinn. Some said she once was a patient at a nearby hospital who passed away under strange conditions. That same hospital, it later shut down permanently. People believe she never really left. Her spirit still walks the streets, just like that night. Frozen dogs. A couple in England, while walking through a grassy meadow, came across something that made them stop. Two dogs stood completely still, frozen in time. They didn't blink, move, or even twitch. Their tails were stuck mid-air. Like a pause button had been pressed on them, the couple couldn't understand what they were seeing. It could have been a glitch in time, a strange pause between moments. Or the meadow might be cursed, guarded by unseen spirits who freeze anyone who steps too close. For a few seconds, it felt like the whole world had stopped, and someone unknown was in full control. Vanishing Cars. In Vegas, on the highway, cars were moving normally, but then a few of them suddenly disappeared right in front of others. It didn't make any sense to those who saw it. It is said police were called, but even after searching every corner, there was no sign of the missing cars. It was like those vehicles never existed. Some believe that part of the highway sits over a hidden rift between dimensions, a place where things slip through without warning. Whatever it was, that stretch of road hasn't felt the same ever since. Ghostly reunion. A local stepped out of his house for a walk when he noticed a strange woman walking alone in the open ground across the street. Something didn't feel right about her. Before he could even react, she slowly lifted her hand, and what he saw next left him shaken. A little girl appeared from thin air and held her hand. It was sudden, like she was summoned from another place. People nearby couldn't explain it. Rumors speculated the girl might have been her daughter, who passed away years ago. Maybe the woman had finally reached her calling, her from beyond, just for one last walk together. Haunted check. Some police officers were sent to check an abandoned building linked to an ongoing case. As they stepped inside, things felt odd right away. The place was silent, yet they kept sensing some strange energy. There was no one there. Still, it felt like someone or something was watching them. One officer said it felt like walking into someone else's territory. They didn't stay long. They quickly left the building, unsure of what they had just felt. Some say places like this become homes to jinns or spirits left behind after dark events. And maybe this building was never truly empty after all. Teleporting dog. On the motorway during a high-speed drag race, a shocking thing happened. A dog appeared in the middle of the road out of nowhere. The car racing at full speed missed it by just inches. It didn't run or come from any side, it just showed up in the center. People were left speechless. How could a dog appear like that? Some called it a teleportation glitch, while others believed it was a sign or warning from another world. Maybe the race had triggered something beyond the normal. Drivers say they feel a strange presence near that stretch, as if eyes are watching. Some avoid racing there altogether, fearing what might appear next. Library exit. You wouldn't expect a quiet library to be the center of a mystery, but one day it was. Security footage from a public library showed a man standing between a group of people, just browsing like everyone else. But in the blink of an eye, he disappeared. No sound, no movement. Just gone. There was no exit nearby, and no way he could have slipped out without being seen. He was either teleported or taken by a hidden force. The library still operates, but people now avoid standing in that exact spot, afraid they might vanish too. Hotel strangers. A CCTV camera set at a hotel entrance captured a sight that was truly unbelievable. It showed two men dressed in black walking in. There was definitely something off about them that caught the attention of the hotel staff. But when the staff went to find them, they were nowhere to be seen. It was claimed they might have been extraterrestrial beings gathering information on humans. Once their purpose was complete, they quietly left. But here's where it gets more disturbing. The camera footage was mysteriously deleted from the system just hours later. Maybe it was done by the hotel authorities themselves to avoid being in the spotlight and to protect the reputation of their hotel. Thank you very much for watching the video. Share in the comments and do like the video and share it with your friends. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to not miss any of the upcoming amazing videos. Thank you once again,